Hello. Oh, great. As kindly introduced, my name's Cassandra from Propercorn, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about, I guess, my journey and what I would attribute to some of our sort of momentum success over the past 5 years. So Propercorn, as you said, is a gourmet popcorn brand. It's gluten-free. All of our packets are under 130 calories. And it was an idea I had about 7 years ago. I was working in Soho in London in the media heartland, and at 3 o'clock every day I would notice that people would have that afternoon slump and would go and buy a chocolate bar, which would leave them feeling really guilty. Or go and buy a rice cake, and that would leave them feeling really dissatisfied, and then they'd eat a chocolate bar anyway. So I guess the intention was to try and create a snack that straddled both, that genuinely was satisfying, but also happened to be good for you. Popcorn for me felt like the perfect vehicle to do that. It's something that everyone understands. There's lots of nostalgia around popcorn, but it was a case of trying to reposition it away from cinema and film as a sort of healthy alternative to crisps. I've always wanted to run my own business for as long as I can possibly remember. And, I think to some extent, everyone is an armchair entrepreneur. And I think the difference between that and a business is just having that conviction to really sort of get on and do it. I think for me, that conviction came from a couple of places. The market felt totally right. The trends in terms of the rise of gluten-free, healthy snacking, impulse, all huge drivers of the sort of FMCG category. And then coupled with, I guess, a bit of serendipity. My father died when I was 16, and when I went home and told my mum about the idea, she reminded me that his last present was a popcorn machine. And I'd completely forgotten about this, and it felt, while not being particularly fatalistic, it felt like a great reason to, quit my job and give it a go. Sorry, there's me and my dad. And, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and to some extent still don't. It very much is kind of learning as you go. So I quit my job and set about getting the various wheels in motion. So that was, doing a free business course, learning about cash flow and VAT and things like that, which I had no idea about. And then, trying to develop the brand and then also get the product ready to go to market. Now, I'm sure, a lot of you will have experienced the world of food manufacturing tends to be sort of big burly men in these, really unglamorous industrial estates, and being a young girl turning up sort of with no proven track record, I had quite a lot of firm no's and sort of doors shut in my face, and sort of told to swiftly go home and get my job back. Undeterred, I managed to find a manufacturer who was willing to take a bit of a punt, which I think everyone needs, that sort of, I guess, lucky break. And we set about trying to sort of develop the product. The way that we first made it, so I knew I needed to tumble the popcorn to get that real sort of impact of flavor, so that it didn't feel just like a dusting, like a lot of healthy snacks that were in the market. So we fashioned a cement mixer. And then I remember watching on Top Gear that the way that they spray paint cars is it's the finest mist that you can achieve. So I ordered a car spraying kit and got this cement mixer, and that's honestly how we sort of first started making the product. Fast track, sort of a couple of years of development. This is, I guess, the range as it exists today. We've got 6 flavors. So we launched with the 4 on the right. Very consciously wanting to position it in a crisp format and really move it away from that film association. So we've got flavors like, I don't know if you can read it clearly, but we've got flavors like fiery Worcester sauce and sun-dried tomato, sweet coconut and vanilla, and then our most recent smooth peanut and almond. I think that, so I'm gonna try and sort of touch on some of the things I think have given us the cut through in what has been an incredibly competitive landscape. I mean, the popcorn category grew at a rate of 44% last year. It's the fastest growing subcategory within snacking. And I think, that's because, as I said, it perfectly plays into the trends. From a standing start, we have now emerged as the fastest growing and also the UK's #1 premium popcorn brand. And I'm also very delighted to say we're experiencing similar traction in Ireland, which is our second biggest market. And so we're so, excited to be here today and very appreciative of the way we've been received. So just moving on. So done properly is, I guess, the tagline. It's on our every packet, and it's very much, starts with the product. So it's not the stiff upper lip English sense of the word proper. For us, done properly is an intention to create the best possible version of something. It's about being personal, being thoughtful, being generous. And so that does start with a product in terms of the way that we develop our recipes, the thought and the iterations that we go through to perfect every, seasoning. And it's not just an off-the-shelf Worcester sauce. We make it from scratch. But it extends far beyond that, and it's the filter that we put everything that we do in the business through, whether it be the way that we hire and the creative decisions we take. It's all passed through this filter of done properly. When we first started, we used to send sample send-outs with handwritten notes, and they would never be from Propercorn. They'd always be from the person that sent them. I'm really sort of happy to say that, 5 years later, we're selling 2 million packets a month, and we're selling, a huge amount of samples every day, and they still go out with an individual note. It's really important that as we scale, we don't lose that sort of bespoke approach and that sense of being really personal, and I guess that extra level of thought and care. So just to show, just to illustrate some of the examples of the way that the brand exists today. So on the left is our most recent sampling campaign. One of the things that really works for us is sampling. We know that once we get into the hands of our customer, we really over-index on loyalty and repeat purchase. So sampling is great for us, and it's it's probably one of the more affordable marketing sort of techniques that you can adopt. Rather than just standing outside a bus stop or a tube station and just handing out packets, we thought, okay, let's go to that extra level again, done properly. And so throughout April, when it's really rainy, especially in the UK, we surprised people and covered their bicycle seat covers, which is the top left image, with our popcorn pattern, and then put a pack underneath. And so when they came back, they found us the packet, but also it was that extra level of thought. It's just an example, I guess, of how we approach things and what I think maybe sets us apart. So below that, you've got our clothing range. We are not a clothing brand. We are, very much a focused popcorn brand, and we're going to stay very single-minded about that. But again, every snack brand in the world will have sampling T-shirts with, it will end up being a grey T-shirt with a logo on the front. And so we thought, if we're going to create a T-shirt, let's create something that we would be happy to wear ourselves. And off the back of that, our sampling team got so many requests, we decided, let's stick it on the website. And, our T-shirts have actually been enjoying a really great sort of rate of sale. It's just, it's a bit of fun for us, but why not, put that extra level of care into it? The bottom right is our team. It's probably the thing that I'm most proud of today. Where we have a hiring policy that we, hire attitude over experience. And that's not because we don't place value on experience, but I do think there's something about a certain naivety that especially we had at the beginning that has given us maybe a fresh perspective and has allowed us to approach things within our industry that's quite a staid and established industry in a little bit of a different way. So it's a really fun team, and I think probably the thing that keeps me awake most at night is being able to protect and safeguard that culture and remain agile and innovative as a business as we scale. I think that's something that, you know, probably faces every startup as they go into that awkward adolescent phase, and it's something that I'm, you know, absolutely passionate about proving it can be done. Yeah. Oh, I think I missed this. I think we're missing a slide. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about our cases, which are on the stage. So creativity is a big pillar of our business. I guess the two sort of pillars that we feel we can authentically stand for is creativity and entrepreneurialism. So starting with creativity, you know, I love art and design and fashion, and you know, it's something that on a personal level, you know, I'm very sort of, I guess, excited by. And very influenced as to how that affects our brand. So, you know, you have to cart your product around in cardboard boxes. Why should it be a brown cardboard box? We decided to do really colourful. I'm just gonna twist one so you can see. So they're proper cases, and they're also shelf-ready packaging as well. So. There you go. I'll just do one like that. So, you know, rather than just doing a brown cardboard box, we thought let's do really bright coloured boxes with illustration on the front. And yes, they do cost more, but it's creativity rooted in real kind of commercial justification. So, as I'm sure a lot of you will have experienced, compliancy can be one of the biggest challenges that we face. You know, you get a listing with a big retailer, and you're like, great, I've got 600 stores, amazing. And then the reality of that and the disparity is, you know, actually quite, well, for me, was quite alarming at the beginning. Those cases shot our compliancy up overnight. It absolutely skyrocketed, and that's because the guy that's in the storeroom who is, you know, loading stacking the shelves is far less likely to forget about us when surrounded by a sea of brown cardboard boxes. So it's creativity really rooted in kind of real business, I guess, and commercial justification. We are the official snack of London Fashion Week, which has been a relationship that we're very proud of, and we've been the official snack for 9 seasons now. Again, you know, I think we very rarely look within our category for inspiration, and that's not because there aren't amazing brands there. I mean, never has there been a more exciting time in you know, our category. There's so many, you know, the barriers to creating a business have never been lower, which is such an exciting place to be. But I think that if we look inwards, we'll sort of start to go round in circles. And so we are far more likely to be influenced by, you know, recent exhibition that we've been to, or maybe the way that Apple approaches packaging, or how does health and beauty do in-store. I think, you know, I think they nail it far better than food. You know, how can we learn from outside of our immediate category and really use that to inspire us and inform the way we behave. And then on entrepreneurialism, sorry. So I think, you know, there's lots of support out there now, and there's a lot of amazing resource for young entrepreneurs. I think what we feel makes us quite credible in that sort of landscape is the fact that we're not that far from the starting line. You know, we've only been going for nearly 5 years, and I think we can really relate to what people are experiencing. So we set up an initiative called Platform, which is an initiative where we invited 16 to 24-year-olds, regardless of, you know, it didn't have to be within food, who had a new business idea, and they were invited to submit their business idea, and then we whittled it down to 12 finalists, and they're invited to our offices in the very trendy King's Cross, and they got to sort of rotate around all our various departments within the business, so finance, marketing, design, and then we had a panel of expert judges, and we had a winner who we gave some funding to and a commitment to mentor them until they sort of realised their goals as well. And that's something that we're really excited to be sort of pushing on as we scale. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that sort of, I guess, brings to life a little bit about the brand. What I would say as well is that everything that you see, every touch point of the brand is created internally. So we don't outsource any of our ideation, any of our creativity, and that's because we feel that there's that sense of detachment when we do. So this is a huge bus that we covered in popcorn pattern, and we had lots of agencies pitching for that campaign, and it was quite a big campaign, and we actually decided to back an idea that Becky, our head of creative, she's 24 years old, she had a brilliant idea, and we backed that instead, and we won some fantastic awards and got a really great reception because of it. And I think what set that campaign apart was rather than having sort of giant pack shots with clever messaging, we actually essentially did really beautiful wallpaper, which I think probably before it went live was like, oh God, is this a really bad idea? We had a tiny pack shot in the corner and it was just popcorn wallpaper, but I think people are increasingly getting bored of being told how to eat, when to eat, what to do, and actually for a brand to come out with something that was just very visually stimulating, that didn't tell you how to live your life, I think that was quite refreshing. So anyway, I'm sort of, running out of examples, and I'm sure I've sort of blabbered on far too much. So I guess I'm just going to finish with, our ambition, which is to create the best snack brand in the world. It's quite a lofty one, and I know it's incredibly ambitious, but I genuinely believe with, the team that we have and the brand that we're creating and the equity within that, I really feel like it's achievable. So thank you for your time.